The hour when the city stops breathing at exactly 12:07 a.m., the city changed. Not in a way anyone would notice on the news. No alarms, no explosions, no dramatic music swelling in the background. Just a shift, a pause, as if the world took a shallow breath and decided not to exhale. Arav Malik stood by the window of his one-room apartment, staring down at the street 6 floors below. The road was empty except for a single stray dog curled near a closed tea stall. A streetlight flickered, hesitating between life and death. Arav liked this hour. People called it midnight. He called it confession time. He turned away from the window and walked toward the desk in the corner of the room. It was old, scratched, and uneven, but everything that mattered in his life lived on that desk. A laptop, a microphone, and an analog tape recorder that had survived longer than most relationships. He pressed the red button. A small click echoed through the room. Recording. "Good evening," Arav said quietly. His voice was calm, steady, almost gentle. "If you're listening to this, then you're awake when most people prefer to sleep." He paused, letting the silence stretch. "This is Midnight Silence Stories, where secrets don't scream, they whisper." Another pause. "And tonight, I'm breaking my own rule." The city outside remained still. "So far, I've told your stories, your regrets, your confessions, but silence has a memory. And tonight, it's asking me to remember mine." Part 2. Before silence had a name. 7 years earlier, Arav Malik still believed that truth protected people. He believed that if you worked hard, stayed honest, and spoke up when something was wrong, the world would eventually listen. That belief died on a rainy Thursday night. Arav was 22 then, fresh out of university, living with his parents in a modest apartment that smelled of cardamom tea and old books. His father, Raghav Malik, sat at the dining table, glasses sliding down his nose as he read the same newspaper for the third time. His mother moved quietly in the kitchen, pretending not to worry. "They're pressuring the residents again," Raghav said finally, folding the paper with deliberate care. Arav looked up from his phone. "The Riverside Project?" Raghav nodded. "Forced evacuations, illegal buyouts, and police cooperation." Arav's jaw tightened. "Then expose it. Publish everything." "I already have," Raghav said. That sentence changed the temperature in the room. Arav leaned forward. "Dad, these people aren't small-time criminals." Raghav met his son's eyes. There was fear there, but also something stronger. "They rely on silence," he said. "And silence only works when good people stay quiet." Later that night, Raghav left to meet a source. He never came home. The official story was clean and simple. Robbery gone wrong. No witnesses. Case closed. The body was returned. The truth was not. At the funeral, powerful men shook Arav's hand and offered condolences with polished smiles. Politicians praised Raghav's bravery. Editors called him a loss to journalism. Then they moved on, and silence moved in. Part 3. Grief doesn't scream. Grief didn't hit Arav like a wave. It crept. It filled the cracks. It sat quietly beside him while he stared at walls he didn't remember painting. His mother stopped cooking elaborate meals. She stopped asking questions. She spoke only when necessary, as if words themselves were dangerous. At night, Arav couldn't sleep. The apartment felt haunted, not by his father's presence, but by his absence. One night, driven by restlessness, he entered his father's study. The room still smelled like ink and dust and determination. That's when he found it, an old tape recorder hidden behind a row of books. His hands trembled as he pressed play. Static. Then his father's voice. "If you're hearing this," Raghav said calmly, "then I didn't make it back." Arav sank to the floor. Raghav spoke for nearly an hour. Names, companies, land deals, political bribes, police involvement. And then, at the end, "Arav, you have a choice. You can bury this and live quietly, or you can speak in a way they can't silence. I will understand either way." Arav sat in the dark long after the tape ended. That night, something inside him hardened. Not anger. Patience. Part 4. Becoming invisible. Arav didn't fight. He disappeared. He sold what little he had, left the city, deleted his online presence, and became another anonymous face in another crowded place. He worked small jobs, learned new skills, studied quietly, journalism, audio engineering, digital security, financial systems. Most importantly, he learned how people behaved when they thought no one was listening. That's how Midnight Silence Stories was born. An anonymous podcast. No ads, no location, no identity. It went live at 12:07 a.m. every episode. At first, people sent fictional horror stories, urban legends, paranormal nonsense. Then the tone changed. Confessions started arriving. Real ones. I hit someone with my car 10 years ago. I framed my best friend. I watched something terrible happen and did nothing. Arav listened, curated, edited. He never judged. And slowly the audience grew. Millions tuned in, not for fear, but for honesty wrapped in darkness. Midnight Silence became a sanctuary. But for Arav, it was something else. It was a weapon. Part 5. The Monster Speaks. The email arrived without a subject line, just an audio file. Arav almost ignored it. Almost. The voice inside was smooth, confident, arrogant. I suppose it's time, the man said with a quiet laugh. Funny how silence makes people careless. Arav froze. He recognized the voice immediately. Vikram Sinha, corporate giant, real estate mogul, media darling, and the man responsible for his father's death. The confession wasn't direct. It didn't need to be. When people refuse to stay quiet, Vikram said, accidents happen. Progress demands sacrifice. Arav felt something cold settle in his chest. 7 years. 7 years of waiting. And now, the man thought he was speaking into a void. He wasn't. Part 6. The Longest Revenge. Arav didn't release the recording. Not immediately. Revenge wasn't about impulse. It was about timing. Midnight Silence began shifting subtly. Episodes started highlighting stories of corruption, silenced journalists, stolen land. No names, just patterns. Listeners connected dots. Independent journalists started asking questions. Meanwhile, Arav leaked evidence, quietly, carefully, to reporters who couldn't be bought. Bank records, shell companies, bribes. Vikram Sinha's empire began to tremble. Stock prices dipped. Protests erupted. And then, one night, Midnight Silence aired a special episode. No stories tonight, Arav said calmly. Just a voice that thought silence would protect it. He played the tape. The confessions spread like wildfire. Part 7. Collapse raids followed. Arrests, resignations. Vikram Sinha was taken into custody at dawn, his confident smile finally gone. Arav watched from his window as the city buzzed louder than it ever had. For the first time, midnight felt lighter. But victory didn't feel like peace. It felt like exhaustion. Part 8. What Silence Leaves Behind. Weeks later, a letter arrived, from his mother. I always knew, she wrote. Your father would be proud. Come home. That night, Arav recorded one final episode. Silence isn't empty, he said. It's waiting. Then the feed went dark. No goodbye, no explanation, just silence. Epilogue. Midnight, somewhere else. Years later, in another city, at exactly 12:07 a.m., a new voice spoke. A new story began. Because silence never ends. It just waits for someone brave enough to listen.